It's Brittany, bitch.
Straight into the action, I'm going to hatch the Demi-Meramon, Digivolve into the Ukamon, passing the turn on 1. Ukamon's going to help me search for all my big pieces that I need. My opponent is going to hatch the Tanemon. Without any other really good options, they're just going to play the Mimi. So they're going to search for the top 3 cards, trying to find a vegetation, plant, or fairy. They're going to pick up the Togemon, and then bottom deck the other 2 Yoshino on top. I will draw for turn, and then I'm going to move out the Ukamon. That'll let me hatch an egg and also search the top 3 cards of my deck, grabbing 1 Digimon or Tamer. I'm going to grab the Rapidmon. It's definitely a good value engine for me, and bottom deck the others. Then I will swing at security, and I will get deleted. That is great news because Demi-Meramon lets me trash a level 5 or higher, so getting my cyborgs and machines in trash and then draw 2. So I don't lose out on resources. I'm going to be filling up my hand with the best stuff. Then I will Digivolve into the Ukamon for 1 in Raising, and I will play the Hagurumon. This is the EX1 Hagurumon. I can trash a machine or cyborg and then draw 2. So continuing to just gas up my hand and my trash. Back over to my opponents. They are going to Digivolve and Raising into the Palmon X. Not the best use of a Palmon X, but they're going to do it and then play the Lalamon. So looking at the top 3, they're going to try and grab a Yoshino and one of the fairy vegetational plants. They're going to add the Lilamon to hand and then pass the turn to me on 1. I'm going to draw for turn and then move out from Raising. This is going to do the same effect again, so hatching a egg and searching the top 3. You can grab a Tamer or Digimon, so I'll grab the Analog Man, putting the other 2 to the bottom of the deck, and then I will hatch the egg there. I'm going to set up some more aggression and Raising. Before you say anything, yes, this is back before the Ukamon was limited to 1, so I have 2 of these guys. I do swing in and get deleted in security. This is the other Demi-Meramon in the Inheritables though, so I draw 1, trash 1. I'm definitely building up my resources, but it is still taking a while. I'm going to play the Supreme Connection. It's going to let me look at the top 5 cards of my deck. I'm able to trash 1, add 1 to hand, and then put the rest back on top in an order that I specify. I'm just going to put it back in the way that I saw it, so Analog Man is going to be my next draw. Then that passes over to my opponent with 2. They're going to move out the Palmon X. They will immediately Digivolve into the Togemon. This will allow them to suspend the Togemon and play out a Tamer with the cost reduced by 3, but they're not actually going to do that. They're going to go straight into the Togemon X, which is going to be able to suspend a Digimon, which is going to be the Hagurumon, and it will not unsuspend during my next turn. Because a Digimon was suspended by an effect, they are able to suspend the Mimi and gain 1 memory, and then they're going to play Hidden Potential Discovered. They'll use the Lalamon as the suspended Digimon to Digivolve into the Lilamon for free. They can also play a Yoshino from hand if they have one, without paying the cost. Doesn't appear that they do, which is good news for me. They'll then Digivolve into the Rosemon X. This is a problem, but it would be a bigger problem if they had Rosemon or X-antibody in the sources. I can move out the Ukamon, I will gain a memory, and then I will hatch an egg. Next, I'm going to play the Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon. First, I have to trash a Digimon with Machine or Cyborg in its traits, and then all of my level 6 Digimon gain Rush for the turn, and if they have sources, they'll also be able to Blitz. I'm going to crack the Supreme Connection, and then play out the Chaosdramon. Supreme Connection reduces the cost by 3, and then I'm going to load this up with some sources. I'm going to give it the Trashing Security Inheritable from Metal Tyrannomon and Rapidmon. With the 3 sources, I'll Digivolve Rosemon X by 3, and also have the When Attacking Inheritable to be able to delete a Tamer. Finally, I actually pay the memory, and then I swing at the Lalamon. The When Attacking from the Megadramon Inheritable deletes the Mimi, and then when I delete the Lalamon, I'll also trash 2 security. This is going to leave them on 1 security check left, so maybe I should have swung with the Ukamon just to put them down to 0 before I did anything, but they've only got the Togemon left. I'm giving them 5 memory to work with. We'll see what they can do. They've hatched the Togemon and Digivolved into the Palmon and Raising. Now they're going to suspend the Togemon to be able to play out the Mimi for free. Mimi's effect will allow them again to search the top 3. They're going to grab the Lalamon from that one. We don't pick up on this right away, but they do end up gaining a memory from the Palmon X Inheritable because they played a Mimi. Moving right along, they're going to Digivolve into the Togemon X. That is going to be able to make sure that I cannot unsuspend my Chaosdramon, and it will suspend the Ukamon. Definitely should have swung with that Ukamon. It's probably going to be stunned for the rest of the game. My opponent correctly gains the memory that they should have from the Palmon X Inheritable, and they will suspend the Mimi to gain another memory. So they're up to 7. There's still a whole lot of turn to go. They'll digivolve into the EX1 Lilymon. Now it's only going to cost them 2 because of the Togemon inheritable, reducing the cost by 1 as long as they have a green tamer. And they're going to go into the Rosemon. The when digivolving won't do anything this time around, but if I suspend any of my Digimon or they become suspended for any reason, they can suspend something else as well. They'll then play the green memory boost. They're going to search the top 4. Looking between the Palmon and the Palmon X, they choose to take the Palmon. That'll pass the turn to me on 1. I'm going to draw for turn, and I will be able to unsuspend the Hugurumon and the Ukamon. I was not expecting that, but now because I didn't do the check the last turn, I cannot end the game here. They'll be able to suspend the Hugurumon with the Rosemon effect. I do the last check and I do get deleted. The Demi-Meramon inheritable will allow me to trash another level 5 and draw 2 more cards. With 1 memory, there's not a lot that I'm going to be able to do, so I'll play the Analog Man in hopes that I can redirect any attacks that come through. That'll pass over to my opponent on 3. They've got the memory boost to work with as well, so they can go up to 5 and Mimi to potentially gain more. My opponent will move out the Palmon, and then they're going to Digivolve for 2 into the Togemon. Unless they can stun both of my Digimon, I am threatening game next turn. And we'll see if they play for that out because I don't have anything in raising, so they don't need to worry about blocking or redirecting in any way. They're going to crack the green memory boost and go up to 3 memory. Then going to play out the Yoshino with the Togemon ability, so it only costs them 1. After a bit of thought, they are going to suspend the Mimi so that they can gain the 1 memory. The Palmon X also triggers from playing out the Yoshino, which means that they will go up to 4. With the cost reduction inheritables, there's a chance that they do go up into another 6. Instead, for 4, because they have the cost reduction, they can Digivolve into Rosemon Burst Mode without actually having to use the alternate cost that would return Yoshino to hand and then make them de-Digivolve at the end of the turn back into regular Rosemon. They can suspend my Analog Man, they suspend the Yoshino to gain 1, now they're going to swing at my Chaosdramon to try and get some of that protection gone, and they will trash 1 security. I'll choose to remove 2 of my inheritables to prevent that deletion, but I am not going to be able to unsuspend any of my Digimon or Tamers. To make matters worse, they're going to be able to set me to 1 by playing the agility training, grabbing the Rosemon X to hand. That probably means that there's more stuns on the horizon. Now I'm going to start my turn, I will draw, and then I am going to unsuspend nothing.
I hope you're hungry for nothing.
I'll start with the Analog Man effect to trash a machine or android. This would be the Andromon to draw 1 and gain 1. Then I'm going to play the MachineDramon. It's going to cost me 12, but I will be able to gain some memory back for each source I put in, putting under an Andromon for reboot, another Andromon for blocker, MegaDramon to delete Tamers, another MegaDramon to delete something with 5000 DP or less, and then the final MegaDramon gives me a DP boost on my turn, which probably isn't going to matter much considering I just keep getting stunned. I will remember to gain that memory back at some point, but for now my opponent is going to hatch the Tanemon, and they're going to Digivolve into the Palmon. With the amount of memory that they have and the agility training plus tamers, they're probably going to be able to go into another 6 this turn. So we'll see what they choose to do if they decide to build up in raising or not. They're going to pay 3 for the Palmon, but then I remember about the MachineDramon effect. I should have gained 5, so he's on 5 memory. Still a lot to work with though, but it's better than him having 10. He's going to play the Palmon, and this is where something weird happens. He's going to say that the Palmon effect is targeting the MachineDramon. Now, I play green. I know that this is a start of main instead of an on play, but I just completely forget that here, and we both just miss this. I believe some memory gaining is going to come up because of this effect. Let me know how much that actually matters in the scope of the rest of this game. My opponent is then going to Digivolve into the Togemon X, and that is going to allow them to suspend my MachineDramon, and this is where the memory gain is going to happen. So he goes up by 2, because I lose 2 since he became suspended, and then they're going to spend the Yoshino to gain 1. They don't choose to suspend the Mimi at this time. They're going to pay 3, it's reduced by 1 to Digivolve into the Lilymon. The Sec Plus in the inheritable could come up. They might be able to do a lot of checks in one turn, especially with the things that I have suspended now. They're going to Digivolve into the Rosemon. So if they did have something to suspend and they'd attack, they might be able to unsuspend. It's not going to happen here. They're going to Digivolve into the Rosemon X, cost of 1. With the Rosemon in the inheritables, if I play anything, it will get suspended. So my only way around it is probably the Chaosdramon. They're going to start by swinging in with the Rosemon. They're going to trash 2 because I have 4 4 things suspended, and then 1 check with the Rosemon. That's going to be an analog man, which does save me here. The sec +1 will clear me completely, but I can redirect if they choose to attack. They're going to digivolve into the Palmon X instead. I might have a turn left in me. I might be able to do something, but they're going to digivolve into the Rosemon burst mode. 4-5, that'll mean that they don't have to de-digivolve or anything. None of my stuff will unsuspend, so we'll see if I'm able to dig my way out of this. I'm going to draw for the turn, and then the analog man triggers will allow me to trash 1, draw 1, gain a memory twice, so I go up to 6 memory, which is quite a lot. We'll see what I'm able to do with it. I'm going to digivolve into the Chaosdramon. That is going to allow me to de-digivolve 1 3 times, so I can split that up. I am going to de-digivolve both of the burst modes, but first I've got to put it in my sources. So we get a Gigadramon for more DP, you get a MegaDramon for a de-digivolve, and not that it matters, but the Metal Greymon will give me sec +1. Unfortunately, de-digivolve doesn't get rid of their Digimon. I am still trying to find a way to get out of this. I'm going to digivolve into the Chaosdramon X. It will have the effects of the MachineDramon and the Chaosdramon from underneath it, so it gets the when digivolving, put 3 sources underneath, and de-digivolve 1 however many times you put the sources in. So I'm just going to load it up with a bunch more inheritables. I think it's just more blocker, more security or piercing. It doesn't really matter at this stage. And then I'll unevenly de-digivolve again, which probably isn't the best choice. Should probably focus that on 1. And that's because I'm going to play the Super Eradication attack. So I'm going to delete my Chaosdramon X, protect it so it doesn't get deleted, and then delete one of their Digimon. So if I'd put more thought into my de-digivolve effects, I could have had something down to a Palmon and deleted something else that was quite large still. Unfortunately, I'm still in a really bad position. They have 3 checks on the board, and I have no way of really dealing with that. I'm going to be able to reboot and block, but I need a way of stopping some more aggression. The analog man will give me 1 redirect, but that still means there's 1 attack to come through. I will reboot and unsuspend. That does mean that I have the blocker active. They are going to draw and move out. Targeting the Chaosdramon X with the Palmon effect, they're going to swing. I will block, which will gain them the 2 memory. They will get deleted. They'll swing. I will redirect with the analog man. Then they're able to swing with the Palmon X for game. Going into game 2, I'm going to choose to start, which may or may not be the right choice here. I'll hatch the Demi-Meramon and then digivolve into the Ukamon in raising for 1. That'll pass over to my opponent, who is going to draw for turn. They're going to hatch the Tanemon, and then they're going to do something a little bit unexpected. Without any better ways of passing turn, they're going to actually play the Palmon. That gives me less memory to work with. They'll still get their starter main, and likely I won't be able to get rid of it. I'm going to move out the Ukamon. That'll hatch the egg. Accidentally flip 2 cards there. Doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to do the search. So top 3, I'm going to be able to grab one of these cards. I'm going to choose to get the MegaDramon, putting the Chaosdramon and the machine to the bottom of the deck. With 2 memory, I should have a few options. I mean, if I do have enough sources, I could even just go into the machine right now, but it might be better to try and set up some things. I'm going to swing in with the Ukamon. It's going to be 1 check. I hit the green memory boost, so Ukamon won't get deleted, which means I won't get to use the Demi-Meramon inheritable. Then I'm just going to pass turn by playing the Analog Man. This should definitely help with some setup, but my opponent now has that green memory boost, so they've got a lot more memory to work with than I'd like. They're going to digivolve into the Togemon. We'll see if they use the effect to be able to play out a Tamer. They are going to do that. They're going to choose to play out the Mimi. And we'll see what they choose to grab from this. So they're going to be able to reveal the top 3 all rookies, which is definitely something that they were looking for. They're going to grab the Palmon. They'll put the 2 Lalamons to the bottom of the deck, and then they're going to digivolve in raising into the Tanemon. Best to do that as soon as possible so they've got more resources to work with. They aren't going to get the benefits of the Palmon inheritable here because they're going to digivolve into the Togemon X. Because it's a mandatory effect, reducing a cost from 0 by 1 doesn't do anything. But because they do have the Togemon underneath, they're able to stun the Ukamon. They've cracked the green memory boost, going up to 2 memory, and now with the Togemon inheritable, reducing the cost by 1 because they've got a green tamer, they can go into the Lilamon. And they do have the Yoshino this time, so they can play that for free. We'll see what they choose to do here, because they probably want to leave me with as little memory as possible. They'll digivolve into the Rosemon. They can suspend the Yoshino to decrease the evolution cost. They can suspend my Analog Man as well, which will unsuspend the Rosemon. That's probably a pretty safe play, considering if I am able to go into an attack of the heavy mobile Digimon and swing with one of my level 6s, I'll be able to get rid of that Rosemon pretty quickly. My Analog Man does unsuspend, but the Ukamon does not. I draw for turn, I can do the draw trash at start of main. That will gain me a memory, so I will have a bit more to work with on my turn, but 3 really isn't much with what I've got going on. I'll Digivolve into the Ukamon in Raising, that will cost me 1. Then I'm going to play the Supreme Connection. So it's going to cost me 3. I look at the top 5 cards. I'm going to add one of those cards to hand, trash one of them, and then put the rest back on top in order that I specify. I'm choosing to trash the Andromon, so I've got the Blocker Inheritable active, and then adding the Rapidmon to hand. The rest will go back in that order, so I have the MachineDramon on top. My opponent will then start their turn. They're going to get set to 3, so very unfortunate for me. Moving out the Palmon, they'll be able to say if Ukamon becomes suspended, I lose 2 memory, and immediately going into the Rosemon X. With Rosemon in the Inheritable, now if I play something, it becomes suspended, and if I move out, my Digimon also becomes suspended. They will suspend the Yoshino to gain a memory, and then they're going to start attacking. So they're going to swing at security. That will be at Sec +1 because of the Lilamon Inheritable. I flip 2 level 5, so nothing for them to worry about. If an option had come out, I might have been able to do something. They're going to Digivolve into the Palmon X, nothing to suspend, but it's a cost of 0, so free draw, and they're going to, for 1, go into the Sunflowermon. It's reduced because of the Palmon Inheritable. They're choosing to immediately use its effect to suspend itself to Digivolve into a Fairy with the cost reduced by 2. So going into the Lilymon for 1, it does look like they're going to be able to get into another level 6. We'll see if that's what they choose to do, if there's another option they want to go for. Nope, they are going to choose to go into the Rosemon. Now they're going to pay 3, but it actually only costs them 2 because of the Sunflowermon Inheritable. That will hopefully mean they have to give me more memory than 1, which is definitely something that MachineDramon needs. Unfortunately, it means that they can do more on their turn, so they're going to play out the Lalamon. They're going to look at the top 3 cards of their deck, going to be able to grab a Vegetation Plant and a Yoshino if they can see one, grabbing the Palmon X, and then they're going to bottom deck the other 2. I'm on 3 security, I have 3 memory, and I have 2 rookies, and as I move this one out, I do get to do 2 searches and hatch 2 eggs if that was possible. The Rosemon X effect is going to suspend that Ukamon, so I don't even get a free check off of that. I'm gonna grab the MegaDramon from there. If I can find a way of going into my 6 and attacking, then I might be able to use that Inheritable. The second search is going to grab me the Metal Greymon. This is from BT1, just gives me a lot of security on my turn, hatching that Demi-Meramon egg and suspending that Ukamon. Analog Man effect is now going to allow me to draw 1, trash 1, so go up to 4. So definitely have some memory to work with. Can crack the Supreme Connection, which will reduce the cost of the machine that I'm going to play by 3. Going to play the old school MachineDramon EX1, and I'm going to be able to load it up with enough sources so that I can keep it my turn. So we can see we've got the Andromon, we've got the Gigadramon, going to put underneath as well the Metal Tyrannomon, MegaDramon, and the Metal Mamemon. Now, these Inheritables aren't going to mean much because the Rosemon X effect will trigger. It is separate for moving out and for playing something, so it will come out and suspend. But it is my turn. The reason that I couldn't do much more, like play the attack of the heavy mobile Digimon or anything, is because I couldn't Digivolve to get around that effect and then still swing. So I'm just going to play the Analog Man, passing turn, and hopefully I'm able to redirect and stop them from winning the game. They do have enough checks to be able to do it right now. No fear, no hesitation. They are going to put the Yoshino back to their hand to go into the Rosemon burst mode for free. They will be able to suspend my Analog Man, and that means that I have 5 things suspended, but they can trash 2. And there's one of the Chaosdramons that I would have needed, and then the check goes through. That is just going to be a level 5, and then the Rosemon is going to finish the game. Lots of interesting interactions. Rosemon X is so difficult to deal with this deck, but I definitely think I could have played things better. I think they just completely outclassed me as a pilot for their deck. I just wanted to unsuspend an attack and they wouldn't let me do it.
This is why I don't leave Philly, all right? You leave Philly and bad shit happens. I mean, trees? Everywhere trees? What the hell is this place? All right, I'm hitching a ride back home.